Hi everyone, it's Kristen and Emily again from Making Math Make Sense. We are back with our virtual math game series. This time we're going to show you one of our favorites, Shut the Box. So I'm going to let Emily go ahead and give you an overview of the directions, and then we'll play a few rounds for you.
So like Kristen said, it's one of our favorites. I saw it in the second grade classroom. The children were playing the actual game, Shut the Box here. As soon as I saw a whole round go through, I picked up my phone and I ordered the game for my children here at home. The game is very simple. You roll 2 dice and you add or subtract them to put your chips on top of one of the cards. We're going to use the ace that you see on the game board here as a 1. You'll notice that there's no 11 and there's no 12 on the game board, but when you're rolling dice, you could add together to get 11 or 12. Here's a twist to the game. If you roll a 5 and a 6 and you can add them together to get 11, you clear off the opponent's chips. If you roll double 6s to get a 12, you clear off your own chips and you have to start over again. There are some different ways you can differentiate this game depending on what your students are working on. You can definitely add the multiplication and division aspect in, that the numbers you roll, you can do any of the 4 operations, or you can add a 10-sided dice if you're doing this in person, or you can send them to an interactive dice site where they can pick a 10-sided dice and use more digits than just digits 1 through 6. But let's get started and see how the game works out.
All right, so we're going to click on the word dice. For this game, we're going to roll 2 dice. Again, another way that you can modify it, let your children use more than 2 dice to play this game. Emily's going to go first. We're going to roll this for her, and she has a 1 and a 1.
So I could add them and get a 2. I could subtract them and get a 0, but I don't have 0 as an option, so I'm going to add this time, and I'm going to say 1 plus 1 is 2.
And we're going to put her blue chip over here on top of that number 2. On my turn, I'm going to roll. I have a 4 and a 2, so I can do 4 minus 2 is 2, or I can do 4 plus 2 is 6. I'm going to go ahead and do the 4 minus 2 is 2, and I'm going to go ahead and cover up my 2 as well.
So in this game, she's not knocking me off. We're both just trying to cover the board with our chips and see who gets all of the numbers covered first. I rolled a 5 and a 6. I can add them and get 11 and knock all of Kristen's off, or I could subtract them and get a 1. I'm going to be nice right now because you don't have many on, and I'm going to subtract them to get a 1. Now, if Kristen had a lot on, because I'm quite competitive, I would have cleared her board of all the chips.
That worked out for me that came at that time. All right, I rolled a 1 and a 2. So I can do 2 minus 1 is 1, or I can do 2 plus 1 is 3. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 plus 1 is 3 and go ahead and cover that up there. Now, as Emily rolls and figures out what she's doing, you have a 4 and a 4.
I do. I could add and get 8. I could subtract and get 0, and 0 is not one of our options, so I'm definitely going to take the addition and get an 8. I hope you're noticing that as Kristen and I are taking turns here, we're talking what the option is if we add and if we subtract. This is a way to get kids engaged in their learning, and they're doing double the problems while they're playing this game. And they're having that conversation and they're having that math talk.
Now I had 2 and 2, so my only option here was to do 2 and 2 is 4 because 2 minus 2 is going to get me to that 0. One way that kids can play if they don't have a partner, you can just use one set of chips. The only modifications you would make to the rule is that if they would roll that 11, if they had already had their 1 covered and they rolled that 6 and 5 to make 11, then they have to clear all of their own chips off the board. But if they roll a 6 and a 6 to make 12, then they automatically win the game and they can start a new round. So if they want to play a solo game, that is an option as well. All right, Emily, we'll do one more for you and see where you end up.
All right. I have a 4 and a 6. I could add and get 10. I could subtract and get 2. I've already used the 2, so I'm going to add and get a 10, please.
And you can see it's very easy to move those chips over top of those cards and pull them off as well. Obviously, in this one, neither one of us made it all the way through, but you would keep playing with your kids until they were able to get all of their cards covered.
We hope you enjoyed this game. If you need the directions written out for you, you can see they're over on the side, underneath the game on the side of the slides. There we go, the written out directions. Feel free to share this video with your students along with the game so they know how to play, or show it to your class as a whole to do the instruction and then get in and play together. We hope you enjoy. Leave us a comment and let us know how you guys liked it.